Good way to get back on. Okay. Oh, I think we're here now. Hey, Jamie. Hello. How are you?
Hello. I am doing well.
Okay. What happened was, I don't know what happened, to be quite frank. The thing was, it kept telling me you're off the air, you're on the air, you're off the air, you're on the air. But we are on the air now. So, hello everybody. Welcome to the Direct to Video Connoisseur. I'm Matt. I'm back after a 2-week hiatus, and as always, joining us is Jamie.
Hello. I'm so glad that you're back. I loved working with John. I always love working with John, but I missed you.
Oh, I missed you guys too. It was, of course, it was really nice to, obviously to get married. It's always a really nice thing.
Yes.
And so
Congratulations.
Thank you so much. Yeah, I enjoyed it. And I also have to say, I really thought you guys did a really great job on the two podcasts.
Thank you. I wanted to do you proud, so I hope we did.
You certainly did. You certainly did. Very, yeah, like, I loved both episodes. Bad Milo was one that I had been considering doing for some time, and I think I might lay off it now after seeing that. And In Bruges is another one I was considering.
Yeah, oh, that's such a good movie.
Yeah.
Such a good movie.
Yeah. Oh, go ahead.
No, I was just going to say that gave me the opportunity to watch it. It had been on my list for a very long time, and that gave me the opportunity to finally get to watch it, which I was very happy about because it's so good.
Yeah. I don't know if I can do as good an Irish accent like John was doing last week.
Yeah, he's very good at that.
Yes, he's got the British Isles ones down. So I don't know. I don't have.
Well, he has sort of like a home court advantage for that, Exactly. It's inbred into him, not inbred like in the South, like how we do it here, but inbred.
The same idea, exactly.
Not Appalachian inbred. No, I'm kidding. I don't want to piss off our Appalachian listeners.
No, by all means.
I'm Southern.
Yeah, great mountains out there. Great, yes, yeah, and we love the South here. Yeah. I know college football season just started back up, so none of them are listening to us right now. They are listening to radio shows talking about how the third string quarterback has no business being on the team right now.
Well, it is a religion,
Exactly. All right. Well, again, thank you again for doing the show. And again, it was, the wedding went well. It was a nice, it was very, we were in the north. We were far from the south, but the weather was very nice up there. And it was a great time. And I also wanted to say I was completely, the transition here is just kind of crazy, but I was able to listen to your two podcasts because we are now on iTunes. And I downloaded the podcast and listened to them on my iPhone.
That's exciting.
So anybody out there, I put the links on Facebook, on the site's Facebook page, or the blog and podcast Facebook page. I also put them on Twitter. So the links are up there if you want. But you can also just type in DTVC podcast on iTunes, and you can find us there.
That's very exciting. I can't wait to, because I do have people who they are very loyal to iTunes. Like they will only listen to shows if they're on iTunes. So now we can have them jump in and give it a listen. And hopefully they'll stick around, after the first time.
Exactly. Now, what is the story for tonight after our show? You did the Insomniacs playlist last night, right?
I did. It was I did it solo for the first time ever, and it was kind of a mess in the beginning, but I smoothed it out toward the end. So it was actually a very fun experience. I was laughing, though. I don't get upset about stuff like that. I just laugh and have a good time with it. So that was good. So after tonight, after us tonight, I think there's going to be a little bit of wrestling later, but that may be it because John's taking the night off. So there won't be any Mummy Issues music and there won't be a crosstalk.
Okay, so much needed night off for John, I think. He's working quite a bit lately. So
he's a busy fella.
Yeah, so we'll give him the night off. Now,
and I have 3 shows tonight. I just came off one to come here, and then I'm doing Evil Episodes at 10. So This is a packed night for me. The one I did before this was I was just doing a guest spot real quick on Banana Laser. So, which is a show that was run by friends of mine, a horror show.
Right. Nice.
If you can imagine.
Yeah, of course, I know. Well, we're doing horror tonight as well because we're going to look at Howling Part 2 in particular, but I think we're going to kind of look at werewolf films in general. Of course, you having the Liken It podcast, I think this is a good tie-in for that as well.
Hey, I'll take any tie-in I can get. Yeah. I love it. Yeah, but the Howling series is an interesting one. I mean, they are all over the place.
And as far as I can tell, now the funny story about Howling Part 2 for me is that when I first saw it, who knows however many years ago, the TV Guide listed it as The Howling Part 4, which we know is a very different movie, not anywhere near as good as this one. So I remember telling everybody, oh, you got to see Howling 4, it's so great, it was amazing, da-da-da-da-da. And of course then found out that I was wrong, that it was Howling Part 2, and everybody was wondering why I told them to see this horrible Howling Part 4 movie.
Well, do you know that Howling 4 was their attempt to go back and be true to the book, to the Howling book? So there, if you notice, there are a lot of similarities between the original Howling and Howling 4, but then it veers off in several different directions too. The reason for that is that the original Howling film wasn't very close to the book.
Right.
But it is definitely the superior film of the entire franchise. It blows every other Howling film out of the water as far as I'm concerned. But
yeah,
Howling 4 just ended up being kind of boring for me. I mean, I appreciate what they were attempting to do because I do enjoy the book quite a bit, and I appreciate what they were trying to do. It just ended up being a bore fest.
Exactly. Yeah, that was for me with Part 4. I was just it had the guy who played what was that show? Not Prophet. It was some show, The Pretender, right? It had him.
Yeah, Michael C. Weiss.
And then the woman.
Or Michael T. Weiss.
Michael T. Weiss. That's right.
Michael C. Hall.
Michael C. Hall.
Michael T. Weiss.
Michael T. Weiss. Michael J. White. We got everybody in there.
Anthony Michael Hall.
Anthony Michael. I was just thinking of that. Yeah. Jen was watching National Lampoon's Vacation the other day, so we saw that.
Oh, how about that?
Yeah, that was a great time when you could hold John Candy at gunpoint and have him take you around a
moose should have told you.
Yeah.
Sorry, we're closed. The moose should have told you.
Yeah. Oh, that. Can you imagine? You think that was so perfect. Like that time I was so young, I didn't really understand what it meant. But now there have been so many incidences of the moose should have told you in a not so goofy way, but still the same idea. The smug park or smug person telling me, oh, you didn't see the sign, you didn't do this or that, But anyway, we were like way off track all of a sudden. But so yeah, the Howling 4 one is like the one that yeah, like you said, there's not a lot of action throughout most of it. Whereas Howling Part 2 is chock full of action. It's just it just starts off good and just kind of keeps going the whole time.
It's just ridiculous action. But it's action that I can get behind, even though they do some things that don't really make a lot of sense, like they stake a werewolf through the heart at one point, and I'm like, well, you're a little confused. Right. And then you've got Reb Brown, who every time he draws a gun, he's like, raw!
That's so great.
Which I love. So yeah, when you mentioned talking about Howling 2, I'm like, I can always talk about Reb Brown. Yeah. Always.
Yeah. Oh, I remember you had mentioned, because I remember when we first were getting together to do the very first episode of the DTVC podcast, you gave me a list of some of your podcasts that you've done, and because I was trying to figure out a movie that we could both watch together, and I saw the Liken It page, I think it was where you did the Howling series.
Yes.
Yeah, and so I was like, oh, the Howlings, of course, and so then tonight we were trying to think of a movie that would go well. It just came to my mind, and then I went and read my review of Howling Part 2, which I wrote, I want to say like 6 or 7 years ago at this point. It just reminded me of everything that I loved about that movie. I mean, Christopher Lee with those Pizza Hut sunglasses, and he's just such a great hero. He's such a great guy to want to root for in a movie like that.
Well, yeah. And then you've got all the tits.
Boobs everywhere.
Everywhere. Like my favorite part of that film is the credits, where it's just like rip open the shirt, rip open the shirt, rip open the shirt, And actually I heard a story about that that she, oh, bless her, what is her name? I love
Danning.
her. Sybil Danning did not know they were going to do that. And she was not happy about that.
She wasn't. I would not want to make Sybil Danning unhappy. That doesn't...
No, I've seen her women in prison films. You don't want to piss her off.
No. Man, yeah, now I remember my friend, when I was living in Portland, Maine, but actually around the time I wrote the review for this, we both DVR'd it from our separate apartments. And he told me that was the only thing that he remembered. He's like, oh, there's this, the credits are hilarious. Like, they just keep showing this woman showing her boobs, and then all these other people in the film reacting to other things, but looking like they're reacting to the boobs. And so I was kind of annoyed, though, that he missed the fact that Christopher Lee was in this, that Reb Brown was in this, and that, for my money, this might be the best werewolf movie ever. I don't know. You know, this is up there for me.
Wow, you have a low threshold.
Is it low, or is it just... is it particular?
I mean, it has a lot of schlock and it has a lot of value. I think I love the soundtrack, and there's a lot of action, and it, you know, you got Christopher Lee, which is always interesting, and Reb Brown and Sybil Danning, and so you put all those things together, and it should mesh into a really good film. But you know, best werewolf movie ever? I don't know about that. I mean,
well, so what are some other ones that you have above Howling Part 2?
Well, just about all of them. But
No way, really?
No, I'm kidding.
No, but well, how about Jack Nicholson's Wolf movie?
I actually really like that movie. I do, and the thing is, people dismiss that, but the last time I watched it and really paid attention. Like, just really gave it my full attention. And it's very smart. There's a lot of stuff going on there. There's a lot of social undertones in that film that I find very interesting. And I think it gets passed over, but wrongly. I disagree with that being passed over. But as far as my favorites are, my number one film is the original, The Howling, closely followed by An American Werewolf in London. Right behind that is Dog Soldiers, Ginger Snaps. Though I'm not completely in love with the werewolf in Ginger Snaps. But I just tend to prefer bipedal werewolves anyway. I think they're scarier.
I agree.
But but there are a lot of bad ones. Like The Beast of Bray Road is terrible. It seriously looks like they made that werewolf with yarn. Like where they took an old mop and like the string mops and then just threw a bunch of them on to make a hairy wolf. And it's bad. And then you get into the later entries in the Howling series, and you've got some pretty bad ones there too, like number 7, which I refer to as the line dancing.
Right. Yes.
There is more line dancing in that film than werewolf. There is very little werewolf. And what werewolf you do see, which is seriously about 2 shots, is very bad. So I think they smartly tried to avoid including a werewolf because they knew it looked terrible, yet they filled it with line dancing instead.
Well, sometimes you gotta, now to be fair, I think line dancing. Okay, no, there's no to be fair there. No, I can't defend line dancing. You're right about that. That's horrible.
No, what they did was they filmed it in a town. So everyone in this film is an actual town member.
A townie.
They all live in this town. And so they were just shooting people doing things in the town. That's the majority of the film. I never really quite got it. It was entertaining on that level. I wasn't bored. I was definitely entertained, but it wasn't like, wow, this is really good. It was like, holy crap, this is bad, but it's funny. So.
Yeah. Well, getting back to Wolf quickly, because that one, I actually kind of that was the first movie I saw with my old friend Petrowski, which I don't know if he's listening or if he'll hear the later podcast. I haven't talked to him in years, but if you see it on Facebook, Petrowski, and you want to check it out, you're getting a shout out here. But he was a sophomore, I was a freshman in high school, and we went and saw Wolf in the movie theater. And it was the first time we'd ever hung out and done anything. And the first thing he did when I got in the car was he showed me in his jacket that he had a wolf mask. So I knew this was going to be a good trip to the movie theater. And he had this whole plan set up because he did this really great Jack Nicholson impression that he was going to tap on somebody's shoulder with the wolf mask and say, like, excuse me, ma'am, do you have the time? And then, if they screamed, I was supposed to stand up and go, "You can't handle the truth," and it was going to be this whole big thing, So we had the whole thing ready, us 15-year-olds or 16, however, and so there was this woman and her daughter. The daughter was probably like in her early teens, 13, 14. And they were sitting in front of us watching the movie, and we were like, okay, we've got our marks, And, of course, as the movie's going on, we're getting bored with it because, we are 15, 16-year-olds, and it explains probably why maybe I need to give the movie another look-see, perhaps, because I was younger when I saw it. But, we were kind of heckling the film. Like, there's that scene where they're on the dock, I think, and we started shouting, jump, and so they were getting annoyed with us anyway, and then Mike's like, okay, it's time to do it, and he gets the mask on, he stands up and he taps the woman on the shoulder, and he was too afraid to do the Jack Nicholson impression, so he's just like, oh, excuse me, do you have the time? And this woman shot him this horrible death stare. Like, she wanted him to spontaneously combust in front of him. She was so angry at him at that moment. No scare, no nothing. And so that was one of my few moments of harassing people at a movie theater. But yeah, so that may have colored my feelings about Wolf.
Well, then I think you definitely need to give it another watch and just check it out and pay attention as a grown-up, and I think you'll get more out of it now.
Yeah, I mean, I'm a little more grown-up than I was then. I'm,
just a little.
Just a little, but I still, Howling, of course, the Howling Part 2 I watched, I read the blog report. I was 29 when I wrote that, because I said, it's the greatest werewolf movie I've seen on my 29 years on the planet or something like that. The other quote I had, which I'm sure as a horror fan you're probably going to cringe when I say this, another quote I had was, it does for werewolf movies what Blade did for vampire films, or Blade 2 did for vampire films.
Wow, in what way?
I guess I would always joke that I thought Blade 2 was the pinnacle of the vampire movie genre.
Oh, okay.
But I wasn't entirely serious on that one. Whereas Howling Part 2, I feel like really, you've got Romania, werewolf sex. Chris Lee, I can't get enough of, and I know Chris Lee was in the first Howling, and I also know that he has supposedly said that he wishes he didn't do Howling Part 2.
He did. He apologized for it.
He apologized for it, yeah. So I understand.
He apologized to Joe Dante.
Yeah.
For doing Howling 2.
Yeah, I feel like my friend, we have this friend who's a huge fan of Kevin Smith, and Kevin Smith has gone on the record as saying that Jersey Girl is a bad movie. That it didn't come out the way he wanted it to come out. That he had the best intentions for it, and it was just one of those things where they couldn't see the forest for the trees. Just in the process of making it, they weren't expecting it to come out bad. And we have this friend who is this huge Kevin Smith fan, and he will defend Jersey Girl to his death. And we're like, even Kevin Smith doesn't like Jersey Girl. How can you defend it? And I guess I feel like I'm doing the same thing. Even Christopher Lee doesn't like The Howling, yet I love it. Or Howling 2.
And like I said, I do find it entertaining, and I am definitely not one of those people that shits all over it. I enjoy it for what it is.
Yeah.
But, it's not at all a serious film. I appreciate the fact that they attempted to, in the beginning of the film, they attempted to pick up where the last film left off. Mm-hmm. The sad part is that they did it so poorly. Because when they recreated the newsroom scene where Karen shoots herself, or where Karen gets shot, where she wolfs out and gets shot, it looked not even close to what the original. They didn't even try. It was just, nobody's gonna notice. We'll just we'll dress her like a werewolf and throw her in front of the camera, and nobody's gonna know the difference. But I don't know what they were thinking, because it is terribly off the mark. But I appreciate the fact that they attempted to continue the story, and then of course that's where we get Reb Brown as her brother, who comes in to find out what the hell's going on. But the thing is just that there's no continuity. As far as they tried, Karen's brother comes in and they're continuing the story that way. But then the werewolves in Howling 2 are nothing like the werewolves in The Howling, and it's just they have all this other bizarre stuff, and then the werewolf sex, which
was kind of gross.
I guess, and I recently was talking about this film with someone else, and he said, if I see two dogs fucking in my front yard, I'm not going to stop and watch.
Right.
And I'm like, yeah, but I kind of dig it. I mean, not two dogs in my front yard,
No.
but in the Howling II, like I don't have a problem with that at all. I mean, I actually thought it was kind of interesting, but
it was a cool idea. I liked it. I think when I was doing that, I think that was when we were first getting into the Twilights and the seductive vampire and the cutesy vampire set, and all that kind of stuff, that vampires were sexy people. And I remember like Wolf, when Wolf did werewolf sex, and when most films do werewolf sex, it's more like that it's a human with like some kind of animal sexual aggression kind of, or some animal prowess in the bedroom, as opposed to a full-out werewolf doing it like an animal.
Well, in the original The Howling, we have that whole scene, by the fireside, where Marcia and Marcia and Bill. The first time he turns into a werewolf is when he and Marcia are having sex by the fireside, and I really like that. I mean, if you look at it now, the animation is wonky, right, and it doesn't necessarily hold up, but I like the idea. I think it's a beautiful scene. It's like it's kind of romantic and sexy and hot, and that they're turning while they're going at it. But handled it very differently. Then when Howling II did it, it was like a whole, like it was like an orgy. It was like this whole werewolf.
It was an animal orgy.
Yes. Thing. And what I find interesting is that everybody's like, we don't need werewolf sex. I didn't need that. I'm like, well, you didn't complain about it in the first one.
Right.
There was werewolf sex in the first one. No one complains about that. But I guess it's because it's of the way it was done, maybe. But no one seems to remember that when they're bitching about part 2.
Right. No, I dug it as well. I'm going to see if I can open up my review without ruining because my computer's slow. I have a bad computer, but it's one of those things where I really dug it myself. I was a big fan. I mean, I was a fan of everything about Howling Part 2. Again, it is for me my favorite werewolf movie of all time. I guess calling it the best werewolf movie of all time, like, that's a little bit. I probably shouldn't go that far, but yeah. I talked about, exactly how, like Teen Wolf was another one that had werewolf sex. It was the same idea where Michael J. Fox just had an animal prowess. And I think it was, it was gross, but I think it was good. I think, it's, the line I had was, too much hair and sweat going on.
Huh.
Yeah.
I think I've been with that guy.
Yeah. Yes, I know. Like any men out there that are into bears listening are like, whoa, hey, now wait a second. I
don't have a problem with hair and sweat.
Oh, this works for me. Howling Part 2, putting it in my Netflix queue right as we speak.
Plus, there are teats, like 6 of them.
Lots of teats, all kinds of teats in there. Now, I want to talk about Christopher Lee in particular, because we discussed the fact that he apologized for this movie. So he apologized, right, to the original director, the original one, right? Mm-hmm. Is that who is it?
Joe Dante.
Joe Dante, yeah. And so he apologized for that. I have had this thing, like, first off, I felt like he was. I didn't really like the Lord of the Rings movies. I know maybe that's sacrilege for me to say that, but they the whole fantasy thing didn't really, it's not really my bag anyway, but I would have loved the Lord of the Rings if it was just Christopher Lee killing werewolves for 2.5 or 3 hours with the director's cut. If he was like in Middle-earth just killing werewolves,
I'd be down with that. Yeah. Of course I'd be down with that. I wish there were werewolves in Middle-earth.
Lots of them. Everywhere. Just
like, I got excited about werewolves in Harry Potter, only it wasn't anything else.
I've never seen or read the books. I've never seen the Harry Potters or read the books. There's like kind of werewolves?
There is a werewolf in the third one. He's one of the teachers, and he's also a werewolf. But it's I don't know. It's not a very satisfying werewolf to a big werewolf fan. It's not what I wanted to see. I wanted to see like a big scary werewolf, and he's kind of skinny and animated, and I don't know. I wasn't.
Is he wear glasses? Is he reading a lot? Oh yes.
Yeah, he's just kicking back.
Oh, I'm sorry. I've got myself a bit of a flea on my back there. Could you?
He's reading recipes.
Oh, yes. Oh, I need more basil. More basil in the dish, of course. I missed it. Is that how they talk in Harry Potter?
Not really, no.
No, I missed it. Yeah. Now, which one was the third one? Was that the Chariot of Fire? Which one was that one?
No.
Somebody, I remember my friend.
It's Goblet of Fire.
Goblet of Fire. What is a Goblet of Fire?
That's the fourth one.
No.
But
the fourth one's a Goblet of Okay. Now, what is that? Now, what is that? Like a drink? Is it they take a shot or they get the
no,
wizard bar?
It's like a flaming Dr. Pepper and a big golden goblet. No.
You gotta watch out with those shots. If you don't get them quick, they burn your lip. You gotta. The glass gets hot. You don't.
Have you ever had a flaming Dr. Pepper? It actually tastes like Dr. Pepper.
Yeah.
I was impressed.
And what does a Goblet of Fire taste like?
I don't know. I've never tried that.
They have a beverage they drink, don't they?
Well, I'm sure they all drink beverages.
No, isn't there like a special Harry Potter beverage? I thought there was like a
butterbeer.
Butterbeer.
Is that what you...
Okay, that's what it is. That's like. Have you ever had Tibetan butter tea?
No.
Oh, okay. So maybe it's not even anywhere close to the same thing, but it's not
I
alcoholic.
couldn't tell you. I don't know because neither have I had butterbeer, but I've had ginger beer.
Very good. Depending on the brand you get, but yeah. Is that
I actually get it at the Renaissance Fair. Every year they make ginger beer and they sell it there, and it's very good.
We're supposed to have...
It gives you that kind of or that twinge in the jaw, when you get the ginger, and it hurts to drink it, but then you keep drinking it. It's like kind of like eating wasabi. Yeah. Like it hurts so much, but I can't stop.
Yes. Yes. No, my friend used to get a ginger beer like that when I was going to UMaine. And I remember the same thing. I'd be like, I can't keep drinking this. Like you said, the jaw, the back of the throat, it gets you. Mm-hmm. Yeah, but you're right. You can't stop drinking it. Is that what butterbeer's like, you think? You think it
something about that always gives me the impression that it's like smooth, or I guess maybe the butter would tone it down. Mm-hmm. I don't know. I've had hot buttered rum. Mm-hmm. I don't like it.
No, it didn't work for you. Now, Christopher Lee was not in the Harry Potter movies, right?
No.
No, so he did Lord of the Rings, Star Wars, but not Harry Potter. They left him
That's
out
right.
of that
He missed out on that one,
now,
I guess.
Ian McKellen, did he make Harry Potter or no?
No.
No, so just Lord of the Rings for him.
Yeah.
Yeah. But
yeah, well, I guess really they were kind of going on at the same time, so you kind of had to pick one. It's like which giant fantasy franchise do you want to be involved in, and those two went for, I guess, Lord of the Rings, which was, I guess, a good call because hell, either one of them were a good call. They both had long runs and they both made shit tons of money. So
yeah. Well, Christopher Lee though, he wasn't really in the Lord of the Rings ones that much, was he?
Yeah, he was.
He's kind of he was
there.
He was
he was a bad guy, and he was really good at it. And but yeah, he was there. And it turns out that Christopher Lee reads the Lord of the Rings novels every year.
Right, I think
like that's what he is really into those books, and so he was very excited to be included. In that, which I love. I love when actors do something that they're really passionate about. And I think Christopher Lee is at the point in his life where if he's not passionate about it, he's not going to do anything about it. No. There was the one Dracula film that he did. It was a Hammer film, I think. Yes. I can't remember which one it was, but he was so pissed off that he didn't speak a word through the whole film. He was just like, I'm not saying a damn thing. And he didn't. And I can't remember which one it was, but that just cracks me up because he's like, no. And, but he's always been like that. Like if you go back to Wicker Man.
Right.
Like he was really into the Wicker Man project. Like he really believed in that and he was all about it and he wanted to do it. And he has a great deal of respect for that. So I love it when an actor will, take a stand and say, look, I'm going to do what I want to do, and it's going to have to mean something to me. Otherwise, I'm not going to waste my time.
Yeah. Now, on that.
And then he did Howling II, so I don't know what that's about.
I know. I was going to say it.
I guess he needed to buy more turtlenecks.
Right. I was going to say, think of an actor really invested in a project. I remember Ben Affleck was a huge fan of Daredevil, and that one, the Daredevil movie, turned out a little different. But you're right. It was nice that he was enthused about it. It was nice that he was was excited to do it.
Yeah, he didn't have quite. I don't think he had the creative success with that Christopher Lee had with Wicker Man or Lord of the Rings, but
Yeah,
whatever.
I know, but
I really don't hate the Daredevil movie, to be honest.
I don't hate it either.
But I'm not a fan of the comic. So I think that makes a difference because like if you look at Batman, like I'm a huge Batman fan. I love the Batman comics and I love Batman everything. I always have. I like the darker heroes, like Superman's kind of a pussy. He's too goody-goody for me. Yeah. I like his powers and stuff, and I'm not gonna lie, like Superman the movie, my stepsisters and I used to sit around the TV, and every time Superman would pop up on the screen, we'd be kissing the screen.
Christopher Reeve.
That's what I say.
Oh, man.
I didn't say it at all. Okay, yeah, Christopher Reeve. Yeah.
Oh.
I was so in love with him back then, but. Anyway, I digress. I've always loved Batman. So when the Tim Burton Batman came out, I was like, what in the hell is this?
Yes, me too.
I was like, what? And then it just proceeded to get worse from that point on. Oh. And then when Christopher Nolan came on board and did the Batmans with Christian Bale, then I was like, yes.
Oh, so you dug those.
Yeah.
See, for me,
I love them.
Yeah, my favorite Batman has always been the Adam West one.
Yeah. I mean, those are just so much fun. But not at all like the comic Batman. I mean, it's not at all dark and it's not at all, like the Batman, the other Batman that I love. So I'm really not sure why that didn't piss me off like the Tim Burton one did, but I think it's probably because I grew up with it.
Exactly, yeah.
I mean, like it was always on when I was a kid. So I just that was actually my first introduction into Batman was watching the Adam West series. And I had a crush on Burt Ward. I didn't know he was gay when I was a kid, and it didn't,
Right.
And I didn't know, but I just thought he was so cute. Yeah. And so that was my first introduction into Batman, and then I started from there. I got into the comics and actually going back, and then I was like, God, I really like this character. He's brooding, he's dark, he's pissed off. And he will kill a motherfucker. Like I'm like, this is the kind of guy that I love.
Yeah.
And then like Tim Burton came along and it was all colorful and I mean, there are some things that I like about it and I had fun with it at the time, but it's not at all, I mean, the story is all wrong.
Yeah. I've always liked the Batman Returns one a little bit better just because I love Danny DeVito as a villain and I've always loved Michelle Pfeiffer's Catwoman.
I do too. I really like her as Catwoman.
Yeah.
I thought I wish that she had done the Catwoman movie.
Yes, that was a good one. The Catwoman.
The Halle Berry thing. Yeah.
Oh boy, that was good times there. But it's funny for me. I saw the first Batman. I think it was in the theater in '89, right? The Tim Burton Batman. So I was 10, and of course the only Batman I knew was the Adam West Batman. So I see this whole thing, this ad, Batman, it looks all great, and I go into this film thinking, okay, I've got, Adam West, I've got bow, bam, I'm 10 years old. It was PG-13, remember, so I could get into it as a 10-year-old without having my parents sign or anything like that. So my parents didn't think it was going to be that bad either, and I was scared to death. I mean, you've got people with burnt, acidy faces and... all kinds of here I am, this 10-year-old, and it's just like it killed me. I've always had trouble revisiting that Batman specifically, even as an adult now, just because it kind of just like it marred me a little bit. I was not expecting that movie that I got there.
I'm going to make a confession here. This is just between you and me. And anyone else who's listening. But I had the Prince single Bat Dance on cassette.
Me too.
I played the shit out of that song.
Yes.
And I recorded the video off TV, and I still have that on VHS somewhere.
You do? Oh, that's like YouTube gold right there.
Yeah, I have. I used to do that a lot. Like, I went through the stage where I was recording songs onto audio cassette from my radio. And it's funny because I wasn't very good at it in the beginning, so you get like the clips of the DJs ending the song or beginning the song or whatever.
Yes.
Or it'll take me a couple seconds, or I'm like, oh wait, this song is on. Let me record it, but the song is then like 15 seconds in.
Right.
But then I went to I upgraded to taping music videos off TV. So I have 2 full video cassettes of just like late 80s music videos.
Yeah.
And I'll actually go back and watch them sometimes, and it's kind of funny. It's like, because some of them, like, why on earth did I
Right.
why did I do that? Why did I record that song? But whatever. My friend at the time, my best friend, was into New Kids on the Block.
Ooh, yes. Yeah.
I never
Boston
was.
Boys. Boston.
They just annoyed me, but she had them all over her wall. They were plastered all over her wall and everything. So there was actually, on one of those video cassettes, is a couple of their videos, them on Soul Train.
Oh, nice.
And then them on the Oprah Winfrey Show.
Oh, that's right. Yes.
So if I can find those, I'll upload those to YouTube. And
Oh my God. Yes. That was like the big thing when New Kids on the Block were big. I know we've like gone way up, but when New Kids on the Block were big, because I had a lot of family in that Boston area, you'd start to get these rumors that some third cousin was dating Donnie Wahlberg or something like that, that they would percolate up north to the other family members, and I'd go into school and brag about it when, no family member of mine dated any of the New Kids on the Block,
my 8th grade boyfriend looked like Donnie Wahlberg.
Not bad. Now he's marrying Jenny McCarthy. I know. Oh, but
Still have his picture in the cassette cover for the Def Leppard album. Oh shoot, the one with Love Bites on it. Yeah.
Hysteria.
I still have that cassette, and his picture is in the front of that cassette, like peeking through the plastic.
Nice.
So we used to talk on it. This is so stupid, but we used to talk on the phone, and we would play the album together while we were talking on the phone, because that's what you did in the 8th grade. I mean, what the hell else are you gonna do,
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah.
Oh God.
I know. The thing I always remember is I had the friend whose mom worked, so they wouldn't get, the parents wouldn't get home until after 5, so we could go over after school and watch MTV as long as we wanted and do, and so that was our big thing too, is to have that, our MTV afternoons.
Yeah, I used to wait for my parents to go to sleep, and then I would get up and sneak into the living room and watch Friday night videos and night tracks.
Yep.
I don't know if you had that, but it was,
I remember Friday night videos. I remember that one.
I would have the TV turned down really low, and we'd have to sit right up next to the TV, but we're sitting there like eating Cheetos and whatever, watching videos.
Yeah.
We got our fill of Jody Watley.
Oh yes, Jen and I
And
were just
Dino.
Jen and I were just talking about Jody Watley tonight because Shalimar was played Night to Remember. They played that on Music Choice tonight, so we were just discussing because they mentioned somebody else in Shalimar had a solo career, and we're like, really? We never heard of him. That was a good decision on his part. And then Jen said, well, it worked out for Jody Watley, and I was like, well, yes, that's Jody Watley. That's not.
I'm looking for a new
Oh my
love.
God, I love that one.
A new love.
Yeah, oh,
And she'd wear those crinoline skirts. And
yes.
Yeah.
Oh, she,
I'm
man.
just dating the hell out of myself right there.
Hey, see, that's the thing, though, right now. See, is that, we were talking about Christopher Lee. We ended up on Jody Watley somehow, but it's the kind of thing that, people our age, and we're loving the Jody Watley. Like we don't know who they're planning to have play this, or at least I don't know who half the people are that they want to do the Super Bowl or pay to be in the Super Bowl. But Jody Watley, if they had Jody Watley do the Super Bowl, I'd watch the Super Bowl.
You know what? That's true. What is she doing now?
I think she's retired. I think she's she's taking a break.
She's hanging out with Kylie Minogue and
Yeah. Debbie Gibson. I heard Only in My Dreams in a store the other day.
Oh my God, I have that on vinyl.
Yes.
I have that album, and I used to play. I used to play that, and then I would record myself singing along with it. I was an only child for a great deal of my life. I had some stepsisters for a while, but then when I was older, I was an only child, so I would have to entertain myself, and that's what you did back then. But see, even back then, I used to record radio shows where I would interview people. Like I would interview my family members and I would interview my friends, and they didn't give a shit. But I would read, get this is funny. I would do books on tape. And I had these little Scooby-Doo books and like and then like the Flintstones books, and I would read them, and I had this little bell that when I turned the page, I would go ding, and then I would read the next page. And now I'm doing audiobooks. How weird is that?
You are? Oh, that's nice. Yeah, see? So do you do the ding or no?
No, I don't do the ding now.
No audiobooks.
Because typically when someone's listening to an audiobook, they don't actually read along with you.
Yeah, they're usually doing something else, and it's in the background. It's background noise. Yes, yeah, I know. See, I've never actually done an audiobook before. I've never read Harry Potter, and I've never done an audiobook. Those are two.
Well, you got to get on that.
I know. Maybe I should do a Harry Potter audiobook. Do you think it's Daniel Radcliffe doing the voice?
I don't know who does those.
Yeah, Emma Watson. Is that her name, Emma Watson?
Yeah.
Okay, there's a lot of Emmas out there. Emma.
I am reading, this is funny though, because I am currently reading the Harry Potter series aloud.
Oh,
Just because I read it to Brian, he likes me to read to him. I don't know, nobody cares about that, so we're about to start the second book, and he's never read them, is the thing. He's never read any of the books.
So this is his first time with them as well.
Yeah. So, because of that, I'm reading them to him, which I love to do. I love to read aloud. I love to talk. That's pretty obvious.
Yeah.
So I'm getting a big kick out of that because I do all the voices.
I do. Yeah. See, the only things like Jen will
not well. I just do them.
Do you do the accent or no?
Yeah, I try to. To make it easier for me, I do Harry Potter pretty much straight because he has the majority of the lines.
Right.
So I do him pretty much straight, but everyone else, I have a Hagrid voice, and I have a McGonagall voice, and I have an even like a little goblin voice. Mm-hmm. So I try my best to do them, which is kind of funny because, I'll be reading and then I'm like, oh shit, what does their voice sound like? And I have to try to remember what voice I gave this particular character, and it's kind of fun.
I'm trying to remember what Hagrid sounded like. He was the Viking cartoon, right? Hagrid. What was?
That's Hagar the Horrible.
Hagar the Horrible. Oh, okay. Was he a actual cartoon or just a comic strip? It's Hagar. It's not Hagrid. It's Hagar.
It's Hagar the Horrible.
Hagar,
I think he was just a comic strip.
He's just a strip.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hagrid is a character in Harry Potter.
Okay.
I can't remember the guy's name that plays him, but
is he Swedish too or no?
No, he's not. No, he's got this gruff English accent that I'm not going to attempt to do because I'll embarrass myself even more.
Yeah.
If John could hear me do these, he'd be like, "Oh my God, what are you?"
Yeah, he's taking a break tonight. We can do all the bad English accents we want. Bleeding hell, I don't know what is going on here, Fake. Nobody's listening in tonight anyway. I slog it off a pint. I don't know what's going on there. Is that how Hagar the Horrible? Is that how he in the books?
It's not too far off.
Harry Potter, go get me some butterbeer. Harry Potter, what's the matter with you?
Actually, that's pretty close.
That's it. Get your bleeding one
For
out of my face.
For a guy from Boston. Yeah.
Now, is that somebody that was who played him in the movies?
I can't remember his name. He is
Robbie Coltrane. Is that Robbie?
Yes, it was.
Yes, it was Robbie Coltrane. Okay, see, I remember the commercials seeing Robbie
Good on
Coltrane.
ya.
Look at that. All right. See, now he was. What was his character? Cracker? Was that his detective show?
Oh, I don't know.
He used to have a detective show on PBS. I think on Masterpiece Theater, one of those. I thought it was Cracker. That's how I knew him. I was like, oh my God, there's Cracker. Robbie Coltrane. So I got one of them.
You did. That's awesome.
Yes.
No, he's not in there. Richard Harris was in the first one, but
he passed away.
And he passed away, or maybe he was in the first two. I can't remember if he made it to the second one or not.
Yeah.
I think he did. I think he was in the first two, and then after that, they replaced him.
Yeah, you'll see Richard Harris in bad Philippine, Vietnam, bad war movies from the 80s and early 90s. He was in this one called Strike Commando 2 that's just atrocious. There's Richard Harris, and you're just like, oh my God, wasn't this guy nominated for an Oscar? What is,
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I love A Man Called Horse.
Mm-hmm.
I love that movie. And I just watched him in Orca yesterday.
Mm-hmm. Oh, God. He was one of the best. Now, what was his part in the Harry Potter movies?
He played Dumbledore.
Dumbledore. Okay, I think I've heard that name before.
Yeah, he's like the head. He's the head of the school, and he's like the big deal wizard.
He's the Principal Belding.
Yes. Oh, that's so funny because you're knocking the shit out of the park tonight because I just last night watched the unauthorized Saved by the Bell movie.
There's an unauthorized. What is it like? Is it a Lifetime movie?
Yes, it was.
I think I saw commercials for that.
It came on Labor Day, and so it's like a biopic of what went on behind the scenes. It actually wasn't very good.
I've got to tell Jen about that. Even if it's not very good, we're going to probably have to watch it.
Oh, yeah, I would say watch it because they even do. And were you a fan? Did you watch the show?
Yes, yeah.
Okay, so you know the scene where Jesse's like she's hooked on the caffeine pills.
I'm so excited.
Yes,
yes.
I'm so excited. I'm so scared.
Yes,
they did that.
No,
they did that on the movie. And it was just them running lines for that episode. And so the rest of the cast is just sitting around watching them. And Dustin Diamond cracked up laughing when she did it. And everyone was all pissed off because they're like, this is a serious scene. And he's like, she's hooked on caffeine pills. It's not like she's on heroin, But then I'm like, well, what are they talking about? Because when that originally aired, everyone laughed their ass off. Nobody took that shit seriously.
Exactly. Jen and I used to have this thing when we were apart, when we had first met and I was living in Maine and she was living down here in Philadelphia. When we'd get to see each other, we used to have this line where we'd say, "Oh, I'm so excited," but not like Jesse from Saved by the Bell, like that would be our line. And we actually went and found it on YouTube. One of us found that scene on YouTube just to play it. But that was always our line. I'm so excited, but not like Jesse from Saved by the Bell.
Yeah, I was more of a 90210 fan, to be honest.
I love that one too. We were watching that one on the weekend when we were getting married. We were staying at my folks' house, and the TV down in the guest room didn't have cable. They just kind of done it. They just fixed it up for us. So we watched 90210 on Xfinity to go. We started from the pilot.
Man, I loved it. I have seen every one of those episodes countless times, and I watch it because I used to watch it on the weekends. Like Tori Spelling on SoapNet,
would
host like Breakfast in Bed, where they would show a bunch of episodes of 90210 every weekend. And I still, if I'm cruising the channels and 90210 is on, I'm stopping. I'm watching that shit because I know that show. I mean, don't fuck with me when it comes to 90210. No. So I always thought Saved by the Bell was a little goofy. Yeah. It was a little too, a little too hokey. Yeah. But I did watch it. I just wasn't.
It was no 90210. You can't.
Like 90210 did. Saved by the Bell when they tried to be all serious, but 90210 handled like date rape and stalkers and crazy people like Emily Valentine, and it.
Oh, we were talking about Emily the other day. Yeah. Euphoria. Remember, you got him on. He had him take Euphoria instead of ecstasy. They called it Euphoria. Yes.
Right.
Yes.
Or there was the episode where they had the sleepover and the cool chick, they found out that she was on diet pills.
Yes.
And it was just, that was a huge thing. It was like, oh my God, you're on diet pills. And I'm like, oh, for God's sake.
I will remember, I'll never forget this. My dad, when I was like, I remember when the show first started, I can't remember how old, I was probably like just barely in high school or something, but I was watching it, and my dad came in the room and was sitting down to watch, and it was the episode with the fashion show, kind of one of the earlier seasons.
Yes.
Where Kelly and her mom get into a fight.
Yeah, and Kelly's mom gets drunk.
Yes, she got hammered. They get into this big blowout. Kelly is crying. She comes back out from where they were, and there's Mrs. Walsh, there's Carol Walsh, and Carol says, "So how'd it go?" And my dad goes, "How do you think it went? What do you think?" And I just lost it. I was, my dad watching 90210, It's just like...
Oh, man. We should do a 90210 podcast.
We could. Oh, man, we could. Oh, Matthew Perry with the teal shorts as the tennis player. That was one of my favorites.
Oh, my goodness.
Yeah, that was another early season one. He's the tennis pro or whatever.
Seeing like Dylan and Brandon, I never cared about them. They were too, like, Dylan was like too deep, and I'm just like, get over yourself. Yeah. Brandon was too goody. I actually had a thing for Steve.
Yeah,
because Steve was a bad guy. But he was a bad boy. He was upfront about the fact that he cared about money. Right. He cared about sex. He cared about, he cared about having a good time. And to me, that was like, that's the guy that I would have been hanging out with.
Yeah. And, the show had so many great guest stars, too. You had Wings Hauser as
Wings Hauser.
Oh, my God. Wasn't he great as the scam guy when they were trying to get Dylan's money back from what was it, like his half-sister's family? Yeah. They stole all of his money, so he had to get it back. They used Wings Hauser to get in and get the money. Oh man.
Tiffany Amber Thiessen crossed over to 90210 after Saved by the Bell.
Yes, after Brenda left. Yeah. Yeah.
And that was nice because I was always a Tiffany Amber fan. I always thought she was really cool. And yeah, I mean,
yeah, the show. Yeah, I mean, I was trying to think of some of the other guest stars that were on it. I mean, like every time we'll watch somebody, Jen and I, we'll recognize somebody. We'll be like, where do we know her from, or where do we know him from? And then it's like we look them up. Oh, they were this character on 90210. It's like, yes, of course.
Oh yeah, and then they had the that one episode where Brandon, the black family moved into the neighborhood,
yes.
and Brandon wanted to date the girl, but her father was like the popcorn king or something like that, and her little brother was Brandon's mentor. Or Brandon was her little brother's mentor, and I mean it was just like a big old, it was like a very serious, But the thing is, it's like they attempted to tackle serious things, but even back then, I thought it was kind of corny.
Yeah, of course.
I loved it. Like I never missed an episode, and like I said, I will watch them to this day. Yes. But never was I like, wow, that was hard hitting.
Yeah, no, yeah. There were a few that I was just like, ooh, that's a bit much. Like the whole thing with Donna and that stalker guy. Like when he finally gets her, and it's like you're just like, whoa, you thought it was just gonna be like some kind of thing where he shows up at a bad time and somebody's the cops have got to come and take him away. But no, that was some serious stuff there. I was like, whoa, 90210 is getting a little heavier than I was expecting there.
She had the whole the angry boyfriend.
Yes.
So they touched on
Ray.
Abuse.
Yes.
And then Kelly's boyfriend with the coke habit.
Yes, that was great.
Colin.
She used coke as well. Yes.
So I mean they did. I guess it was in later years they got even more serious because that's when they did the whole rape when Kelly the whole rape thing.
Yes, that was horrible.
And then the stalker, the girl who moved into the apartment and then it was very single white female.
Yes, I remember that. Yes. Yeah, the thing I remember about Donna, and I even when I was in high school, and I remember all the girls in my school thought the same, and all the guys, everybody who saw that episode, it was like you felt so guilty about it, but Donna falling down the stairs, I mean, it was maybe the funniest moment on the season's, of the show's entire run, and you're so guilty, you don't want to be laughing about, relationship abuse, a man putting his hands on a woman, but he's, just the way she tumbled down those stairs, it was just like, oh God.
It's okay. I don't think you're going to lose points for that. Because it was funny. I mean, what can you do?
Oh, it's so bad. And then remember when
People falling down is funny.
I know. And remember when she met Ray later on, they were trying to rehabilitate his character because his music career went south so fast because he was seen as an abuser on 90210, and it bled into his real-life music career. And so later on, I guess she has a production company with David or somebody, and they see Ray with somebody else, and she has a flashback to that scene of being thrown down the stairs. And I remember watching that with some girl I was seeing at the time, and I burst out laughing. And she didn't get it. She was younger, so she didn't even remember the episode or anything. She didn't know what to think of what I was doing there, and I felt so guilty, It was a bad,
okay.
Yeah. I know, but see, that's what's great. Jen, she gets it. She knows. She understands when Donna Martin goes down the stairs what that's about.
Well, that's how you picked a winner.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. Oh man, yeah, we should. That would be great to do. She would probably want to be in on a podcast like that.
That would be awesome. I would love that.
We could continue to fill out Tuesday night here on the second unit.
Yeah, well, I mean, right now, I am the only thing going Tuesday night, so we need some more stuff Tuesday night.
Yeah, see, I don't know.
That'd be a fun thing.
Yeah, I don't know how the rest of second unit will feel about us doing that, but, it's one of those...
I don't think they care.
No, I know.
I just do what I want.
I know. But, it's one of those things, we've kind of, here we are, we started way back with Christopher Lee, and we've made our way all the way down here to 90210, but,
Donna falling down the stairs.
But, 90210 is one of those shows. I mean, Christopher Lee was never on 90210, but he was, the only person that wasn't really. Almost everybody else did.
I love how you try to legitimize our random ass conversation by bringing in this segue. Well, there are people that were. Oh, just stop it. We have no idea what we're doing.
No, we lost track. We lost track of things.
We were supposed to be talking about Howling II, or then the Howlings, and then
werewolf
it just
episodes. There wasn't even a werewolf episode of 90210.
No, there wasn't. Sadly,
I don't remember a hairy guy. I don't even remember a person that was overly hairy.
No, everyone was perfectly coiffed.
Yeah, we didn't even have a hairy back.
Oh, wait a minute. The homeless guy went on Thanksgiving when Brandon found him out by the dumpster behind the peach pit and brought him home. But then he got a shave.
That's right.
But he started out really hairy.
He was close to being a werewolf. Yeah. I was gonna say, wasn't Andrea's the guy that she had the kid with? Was his name Jesse? He looked like he would have had a hairy back, don't you think?
Did you? Well, maybe.
Yeah.
I never put that much thought into it.
No. Well, just thinking about it now, trying to think.
I didn't like his character either. He was so mealy mouthed and just like. I want to smack him.
I know. They had some rough there. They had some rough, especially the guys. They had some.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
None of those guys were ever really all that appealing because they were so wimpy and broken and these are not like the guys that I go to school with. These are not like the guys that I date. Yeah. I don't date these guys.
No, they were, but the sideburns, to this day I still have sideburns because of that show, because of the guys on that show.
Hot.
Yeah. I can't not have them because of that, Oh, man. Well,
your own little personal tribute.
Exactly. Well, so I guess, because we did have some technical difficulties to start the show, so I guess since there isn't really anything after us, we might as well, we've got about 3 minutes left for the hour thing, so why don't we'll look at, do you want to promote anything that you've got going on upcoming? I know you've got Evil episodes tonight.
Yes, I'll be recording that tonight, which means it will probably drop by the weekend.
Okay.
And when we're doing on this show, we don't have anything like a film that we're talking about. We're doing our usual TV wrap-up, but we're also dipping back into our Tales from the Dark Side retrospective. So we're discussing 4 episodes of Tales from the Dark Side.
Excellent.
And so that'll be fun. Other than that, people should check out the Insomniacs playlist every Tuesday at 11. I'm having a really great time doing that show, and you never have any idea what the hell I'm going to play. Like just last night, on last night's show, I did a tribute to Ennio Morricone.
Yes, Jen mentioned that because she saw it on the Facebook. She goes to Facebook more often than I do, so she sees what gets posted. And I went on today and I was like, oh, look at, Jamie posted about the show, and I saw that Jen had liked it, and so yeah, she'd mentioned that.
Yeah, it was good. Now that was, like I said, that was my first solo show, so it was a little bit wanky. I'm going to actually do a little bit of editing to that one, which I've never done before. Usually I put them in the archives exactly as they are.
Yeah.
But this particular one was a little rough in the beginning, and I don't want to bore people with the gaps as I'm trying to figure out what the hell I'm doing. Mm-hmm. So that one will be going up at legionpodcast.com probably by the weekend.
Okay.
And that was a fun show. I really loved putting that playlist together. I mean, that's my favorite thing is putting together these playlists. Just whatever theme I choose. And I never really know what it's going to be until, that particular playlist was born because I watched Orca the day before, and I really love Morricone. Like I always have. He's one of my favorite composers.
Yeah.
So when I watched Orca and his score, immediately as the picture started and his score kicks in, I start to cry. And I was like, you know what I'm doing tomorrow night? I'm doing a tribute to Morricone. So that's how they get born. It's just I get inspired by whatever, and then next thing I know, I'm creating a playlist from it. And so it's a super fun time. And the people who come and hang out on the chat room, they're really cool. They really get into it. They're very supportive. Everyone was so patient and supportive with me last night. I can't thank them enough for doing that. So anyway, come check out that show Tuesdays at 11, and join me while I spin whatever the hell I happen to be spinning at the time, and we'll have a good time with that.
Excellent. Yeah, and so we'll go to the Facebook page. I don't know how to say what the Facebook page is. Is it Facebook at Direct to Video Connoisseur? I guess that's how you do the link to it.
I don't know. I always do. Like, I know that my personal Facebook page is like facebook.com/Maven1974.
Right. So it must be / direct to video connoisseur. I mean, the other thing is, I'm almost 90% sure. Actually, I don't know if the Twitter has the link, but you can get the link from the main page, which is mattmovieguy.com. And that will link you to the Facebook page. And that's always a great way to keep abreast. And, of course, always follow Jamie at Maven1974 and follow me at DTV Connoisseur. So, that way, we'll keep you posted as far as what things we have going on. I'm hoping to get back into written reviews by next weekend. I had this idea that I was going to do Ninja 2 before I went away to get married. And, not even close. Didn't even.
I watched that again.
Did you? You mentioned that.
I did.
Yeah.
I did. I love that movie.
I know, that's a good one. So that's a review I am ready to write. I can't wait to write that one. So that's what. Hopefully we'll get another one of those. As far as next week goes, I don't know. We don't have a guest lined up yet, so it might just be you and I. And we've got a couple movies we're looking at to possibly do. So we'll see what we have on for that. But
we should do the Aaron Eckhart thing, because you're right. That is what we decided on. I screwed that up. Well,
that's okay. But no, it was good this week that we didn't do the Aaron Eckhart film this week, because you did In Bruges last week, or In Bruges, whatever. That's a Belgian film. This film took place in Belgium too. We can't have that much Belgium back to back. It's
okay.
Yeah, it's too much. So we needed to get some Romania, some LA in here, and just to kind of some 90210, just to even things out.
Yeah, you know what? I love the randomness of what we just did, because you've been gone, you came back. It was kind of like getting reacquainted, and we just talked about some random bullshit, but. It was fun.
Yeah.
It was fun, and I'm glad you're back.
Well, thank you. I'm glad to be back. I was, like I said, you and John did 2 really great episodes while I was gone, and so it was really nice to have that. And now, it's fun to be back as well. We had technical difficulties to begin with, which I think threw a little bit off, especially for me, how I was going to introduce the show. But otherwise, like you said, yeah, we just kind of jumped back in, and next thing we knew, we were talking about Donna Martin falling down the stairs.
And that's never a bad thing.
Never a bad thing. All right. Well, again, thank you all for listening, and I hope to see you all again next week. So until then, have a great night. Now, what do we have tonight? We have wrestling at 10:30.
I'm not sure what time he's coming on. I just know it's a little later.
Okay.
But I don't know when. I think he's going to do like a half-hour wrestling, and then.
And that might be our night tonight, yeah, because John take the night off. But so check out wrestling either at 10.
Wrestling.
Wrestling at 10 or 10:30, and check us out here next week at the Direct to Video Connoisseur Podcast. Goodbye, everyone.
Bye.
Director video.